All right, what's up, y'all? Today's the 30th of April, 2025. It's actually been raining, and it's very rare for it to rain in Utah. So it's kind of wet out here, raining a little bit on me. This video is on In The Image Clothing Company Dogs. This is titled How In The Image Clothing Company Dogs Will Look. I have been really given revelation, no joke, past couple days on how to approach everything. Not that I've been approaching it wrong, but there's some things that now I know how to really kind of dial in. And In The Image Clothing Company Dogs is 1/4 of In The Image Clothing Company as a whole. I'm the founder, Evan Strong. I'll talk about each of the other three sides of our company, and then I'll just kind of like lay out what it's going to look like, a lot of things to expect, and things can slightly tweak over time as we go, but just kind of like a, hey, this is what it's going to be. I've talked about this fourth of our company, In The Image Clothing Company Dogs. I've talked about how we'll be breeding standard poodles, purebred, registered, proper dogs. But I'm going to give like a pretty good, thorough explanation of what to expect and a lot of what's just going to come with this. So this is, I'll start here and I'll mention the other three sides of In The Image Clothing Company. This is our dog side of things, In The Image Clothing Company Dogs, and the whole slogan is letting dogs stay natural. In 2025 and going forth, we live in an unnatural world. There's unnatural materials that are made, dog toys, dog accessories, a lot of things are made out of unnatural stuff that our dogs are eating, our dogs are ingesting. Dehydrated kibble, the water's been extracted, collars, leashes, harnesses, imbalanced weight-wise and size-wise, unnatural materials may be placed directly against the dog's neck, for example. So we address all those things in the ways that we do, and just do our slogan. We let dogs stay how dogs would be naturally. We will have collars and leashes, whatever else we do get into as well, dog accessory wise, available under In The Image Clothing Company. Yeah, you'll be able to just go to InTheImageClothingCompany.com where our clothing is placed and the dog products will be there. Everything is going to be under the same name. That's why all four sides are labeled under the same 5-word name as a whole, In The Image Clothing Company. Everything will be under InTheImageClothingCompany.com. I purchased that domain in 2024, so that's where it will be, no doubt. As of today's date, the website's not quite up, but okay. So another fourth of us is In The Image Clothing Company, the main side, where everything started. We allow the human body to work. That's our key phrase for that fourth of the company. Staying centered, fitting correct, made out of 100% natural materials with our clothing is how the body then just is unaltered. As I say, we're just a mechanical machine placed on a rock in space, the human being on Earth. A center line, the sternum, the spine, the trachea, the nose, and our jaw stabilizes the entire body. So we have to stay centered with gravity, okay, pulling us down. That's really where the pain and problems within human beings physically is coming from, is the thing that's placed on them. It's their clothing. No doubt, no dispute. We have so many videos, 200 as of today's date, on the main side of In The Image Clothing Company. We have another fourth of us, In The Image Clothing Company podcast. We have discussions on the gospel of Jesus Christ, aka the truth of all things. I don't get religious. I'm not religious. I'm not somebody who believes in things. I just talk about the truth. We live on the same earth. We're all human beings. We have one God. We discuss it. 114 episodes as of last night under In The Image Clothing Company podcast. Check it out. I get blunt and bold and raw and real. It's wonderful. Another fourth is In The Image Clothing Company music. Guitars can be very much altering the human being, and I show how to size and set up guitars, what to pick, right, in sizings of guitars, to not alter the body. Our hands are essentially our shoulders, as the feet are essentially the hips. Our hands are what we use to play guitar, so we have to be very intentional with that. Okay, also music that I make is placed on In The Image Clothing Company music. So Yes, 30th of April 2025, laying a foundation, laying a groundwork for In The Image Clothing Company dogs, things to expect. I don't have my first dog yet. I've said under In The Image Clothing Company podcast and maybe other places here on In The Image Clothing Company dogs. My first standard poodle will be named Nita, N-I-T-A, Nita. She will be the matriarch for our breeding program. I'm not just going to breed a litter or two of dogs. We're going to have a proper breeding program. And there's a video placed here on In The Image Clothing Company dogs titled When the Standard Poodle Puppies Come, ... And I talked a lot about conditions on who the dogs will go to, so that there's no question on if we're being prejudiced against somebody one day if we say no to them having one of our puppies. It's like adopting a child. It's a 15-year commitment, and we're doing it very proper. So a lot of context in that video on that as far as adoption of our puppies, but a big thing is it's proper, okay? We're not going to just kind of willy-nilly be breeding dogs. All of our dogs will be registered, AKC registered, American Kennel Club, and then whatever registry needs to be happened in whatever way, we're going to do it very proper. All of our dogs will be microchipped. And I know that we're In The Image Clothing Company, and the goal under all four sides of In The Image Clothing Company is natural. And a microchip is electronic. But this is the thing with microchips. Me being the founder of In The Image Clothing Company, me being the one behind all of this, it's my decision. The reason that will be the case is something we'll talk about a lot. We'll do a lot of videos discussing a lot of that, but a small little microchip that's just barely larger than a grain of rice is so much more natural than having a collar with tags placed on it, weight-wise, and the noise from dog tags, and there's so much that goes into labeling placed onto a tag in order to keep information for who the dog belongs to. That becomes so much more unnatural than just a small little microchip placed into the dog. They usually place it just underneath the skin, right between the shoulder blades of the dog. It's very, very small nowadays, at least at this time period. Seriously, about the size of what I'm showing here between my fingers. Very, very small. So we will be microchipping every puppy. If you have a problem with that, okay. I don't think that there are many people that do. The big thing is as well, collars can fall off. And anything could happen to lose the information that's been placed onto the dog, as far as like your phone number or your address or your name or whoever you are as the owner of the dog, to be able to receive your dog back if it gets out, if it gets lost, if it gets taken. People are not going to be able to remove the microchip from the dog. The dog isn't going to be able to accidentally remove the microchip placed underneath its skin. It's a safety thing, and it is actually more natural. When we really get down to like weighing it, if you will, it's more natural to have a microchip placed into the dog than having potentially all the things that do come with collars. And it's still good to have collars, right? And we will have them available in the Image Clothing Company dog collars, but yeah, we're just very intentional about what we're doing, and that's just how it will be as far as information wise. Microchips are a permanent thing. We want to keep our dogs at their homes, right? Like I said, we have a very strict, and always will, screening process of who the dogs go to, not to be discriminate against the people, the owners of the dogs, but the dogs themselves, they need the best life that we can give them because they're our dogs that we're breeding. So we're in charge of where they're going. So we want to do all that we can to make it so these dogs stay at the homes that we get them to, and don't, like, maybe, you know, have their collar slip off and then end up in a shelter that the owner just doesn't know how to find or get a hold of, or the shelter doesn't know how to get a hold of the owner, right? And then the dog maybe goes to a different home or a different home and gets tossed around. We want to make this permanence, at least do all that we can to have that be the case of the family, right? You bring a dog home and this is a new member of your family. So having that microchip in the dog is something that could never not work, right? As far as being able to give the information, because you just have a little scanner is what gets used, and they'll scan the microchip and it'll bring up the information of the owner, no matter where the dog is, no matter if it does have a collar or not, okay? So there's a lot of benefits to that, and like I said, I'll do a lot of videos, right? I mean, we're in the Image Clothing Company. We're really video based in a lot of ways. Yeah, we are. That's primarily what we do, other than the products we will have, right? So I'll talk about it. Collars versus microchipping, and not even just the versus, but you know, you can have a microchip and still wear a collar, but then all the things that we discuss about collars and how they get so unnatural. They alter the dog's mechanics physically, right? So we'll get into it. Breathing of the dog and everything. Okay, but yeah, we're here with what In the Image Clothing Company dogs will be. I want to really hit that now, as of today's date, before we ever have any litters coming yet, because I understand it's not quite natural, man-made, electronic microchip placed into a dog, but that's why I'm saying it today, okay? Because it's going to be that way, and I just explained why, okay? So, yes, our puppies will be a whole, it's going to be a whole thing. What I mean is, we're going to film the births of the litters as long as we can, right? I mean, if I'm sleeping and the dogs are, you know, giving birth, one of the mothers is giving birth and I'm asleep, then whatever, maybe not, but yes, because we're going to film the litters, is what I'm saying, for the sake of everything's going to be very well documented. We will have the date and time of each puppy's birth, and it will be filmed. So when you get a puppy from In the Image Clothing Company dogs, you can actually have video footage of your own dog being born. That's how it's going to be. So that's some really cool things, and a lot of it's just transparency too, right? So that we are really just open about what we're doing. And like I said about us being video centered here, as all four sides of us as a whole, even the podcast, it's not only an audio podcast, it's video plus audio, and then audio form as well, two separate ways of viewing. And we are documenting everything. As I said in episode 114 of In the Image Clothing Company podcast, it's titled In the Image Clothing Company and Evan Strong R1. It's like what I was saying within the beginning of this. I've got really convicted the past few days on how to approach this, and really what I was saying in episode 114 of In the Image Clothing Company podcast, In the Image Clothing Company and Evan Strong R1, is really what In the Image Clothing Company is like a documentation of Evan Strong's life. But within that, we've got all that we have, right? But the whole point is, this is my personal lifelong thing, okay? I am the founder of In the Image Clothing Company, and for my entire life, I am In the Image Clothing Company, okay? So with that being said, the reason I'm mentioning that with the documentation of things is everything's public, and our whole breeding area, like where the dogs are held, where the dogs are being raised up, when we introduce the dogs to things, all the sights and sounds and smells and things as they're with us for the first couple months, breastfeeding on the mom, and we're getting them ready to go to their new homes for life, right? 15 years is give or take how long these dogs do live. So we will be documenting all of this as it happens, so you can watch your actual puppy from its birth, and then what we document between that time and when it comes home with you, okay? So it's just going to be really, really proper. As I've been saying, it's transparent, okay? So our dogs, as I said, will be registered, meaning Yeah, they have a registry. We will be doing genetic testing on all the dogs that we are breeding, right? There's a lot of ways that they can kind of weed out things, and we can be aware of things nowadays that we couldn't have in the past by doing genetic testing of dogs, right? You take a sample of the dog's bodily fluids, right? And you can know the genes, you can know some of what, like, you can have some expectations of what's to come with the puppies. I'm gonna say that because I don't need to over-explain it for this, just for context of we will be doing it properly, okay? Yeah, so in the Image Clothing Company dogs, it's going to be a lot of what some of these first few videos are here that are placed. I've got videos about keeping dog collars quiet, keeping the neutral wrist with dog leashes, right? So a lot of things body mechanic wise, human beings working with our dogs, and a lot of simple tips and tricks when it comes to trainings of dogs, things that are not quite your fault if you don't know, but it kind of is on you, and it's really not the dog's fault, is the main side of what I'm saying here for why the dog's not listening. There's a lot of things that are distracting dogs, like as we've talked about, noise within the dog tags on the collars. The dog's just so distracted by the noise, it's right by its head, and so then you're trying to get it to listen to you. We're going to talk about all the things like this, owner and dog related, okay? All the things that I say within the intros of what In the Image Clothing Company Dogs is, as far as what our slogan is, letting dogs stay natural, that will be on here as well. And I will just be giving tips and tricks on feeding and a lot of things that are just, ideally the goal is always just undisputed stuff, not like an opinion on what I think might be best, but keeping things natural. That's the goal under all four sides. So how to feed dogs natural food when we live in a modern day, right? How to be intentional when purchasing dog products and toys, because we don't even know if we don't know, meaning us as individuals, that we're placing unnatural things on our own bodies, and then doing those things to our dogs, we're damaging our dogs without us even realizing at times, right? So it's a lot of just information. That's what we do here under In the Image Clothing Company, is unless you're purchasing our products, really all we're doing is giving information. And a lot of times too, just entertainment, and you know, we do a lot of stuff here. So we really do. Seriously, all four sides of the company, there's a reason that they are what they are, and it's all intertwined in the same thing, right? It's all under God. It's all very intentional. So the dogs that we will have will be shown here. I think that's a big thing, because that's a cool thing. It's like a even more personal thing to be able to see your own dog be born through video footage, right? Because a lot of times you'll get a dog and you only know that dog from age 8 weeks, give or take, through the rest of its life. But you can actually see your dog from the very start through documentation. So that's what I love so much. As you know, if you know anything about In the Image Clothing Company up until today's date, like I just said, I say the dates in everything. I verbally speak them in all the videos that we make, because like I said, it's In the Image Clothing Company is like a documentation of Evan Strong's life. Really, it's just, hey, I'm showing some things, I'm giving some information, I'm teaching people things that I know that maybe they don't, but it does apply to you, right? So there we go. Our dogs will be so well documented on here. And yeah, okay, so we will have things, well, I'm gonna call it poodle parades. I love poodles so much, okay? Purebred poodles. But if you do have doodles, right? It's like, if you do have doodles, I do love doodles, okay? Golden doodles, labradoodles, mixes, but really poodles, right? But we will have poodle parades. And I've talked about within the Image Clothing Company's main side how we will have meetups and go on walks, teach people more about clothing and intentionality behind allowing our bodies to work. Similar thing with poodle parades. We'll just have times where, you know, like I'm saying, we do everything on video. I'll announce it, and we'll have ways on InTheImageClothingCompany.com where we can get together and figure things out as far as meetup times and places. I currently live in the state of Utah. I'm not planning to leave this state. So yeah, okay, the United States of America. We will have meetups though where we can just have a good time with our dogs. We can meet at a dog park or just some public place that does allow dogs, right? We got to be very intentional about not trying to go somewhere that says no dogs allowed, because there are places that don't want dogs, understandably. But we'll get together, and what we can do there is just hang out, just let our dogs play with each other, but then also share information, right? We can share things, and yeah, I mean, because that's the whole goal. That's the whole thing under In The Image Clothing Company, is just spreading. I've said it since the founding. It's not about us, but it's about spreading and getting as big as we can, because what we speak on here and what we talk about and what everything's geared around is truth, around things that are benefiting us in the ways that we're, you know, focusing on. Like the things that we're doing, the reason we are is because they're just good things to help everybody, things that don't ever change. So when it comes to the poodle parades, yeah, we'll just be able to get together and talk with each other and hang out. It's just a good time to hang out. I mean, that's really what it is. Same with the In The Image Clothing Company main side meetups, clothing wise, right? The walks will go on. I said dog parks or parks, but we could meet up like in the mountains or anywhere at all that allows dogs, because in those moments as well, In The Image Clothing Company Dogs is just as much the main side of In The Image Clothing Company as vice versa, right? The whole thing, we're just one under one name, 5 words as a whole, In The Image Clothing Company. So within the poodle parades, we'll be able to just talk about clothing as well, right? And that's what I'm saying. Just spreading information, truth, to do what we say. Allow, keyword, the human body to work, and let dogs stay natural, okay? Because it applies to everybody. It applies to everybody's dog as well, not only poodles. But when we do have In The Image Clothing Company dog meetups, and I'm saying this clearly now, it will only be poodles and poodle mixes that we will be having come to the poodle parades, okay? It's in the name of the meetup. It's a poodle parade. We're, you know, many reasons as to why, but if we got some little small dog coming to one of our poodle parades, right, and then maybe there's dogs kind of getting after each other, you've got standard sized poodles and poodle mixes, doodles, right, and then some small little dog that we said not to come, and then if dogs get injured or whatever, right, you can bring any size of poodle, but poodles and poodle mixes only at the poodle parades. Okay. I want that to be hit clear as of today's date, the 30th of April, 2025. So if I ever mention it down the road, again, it's not like I've just come up with it later. No, I've said it now before I even have my own dog, okay? So just being very clear to say it right now, documented on the date. So yeah, In The Image Clothing Company Dogs. Yeah, it's going to be really great, because I don't think that it's quite understood by anybody who does know In The Image Clothing Company as of today's date how intentional and real our breeding program will be, okay? There's a lot that goes into it, a lot genetics wise. There's a lot that really needs to be properly done as far as the upbringing of the dogs for the first, give or take, 8 weeks of their life. And it's going to be just very well done, and not just like keeping you waiting and hey, we'll have a litter at this date, look out for it. But we do everything under video, and we document things. We document the dates. So yeah, I jaw popped a little bit right there. So there you go. I think that's all I'm gonna say right now for that. but I wanted it to be, there's too many poodles right there. No joke. Too many poodles. With a guy on this path. I love it. Man, all right. Okay, so yeah, I'm not kidding. I mean, I'd show it, but the layer of trees between this field that I'm on and then the path right there. So yeah, poodle parades, okay? I think that's one of the biggest like announcements in this, and just talking about the documentation of the breeding process, because it's cool. You know, I personally like to watch other dog breeders and see their whole place. You know, it's just like watching a really fun family hangout, right? Our dogs are our family. It's not just a pet. I know a lot of people have their opinions on what dogs are, and you can. Some people just don't really even like dogs. They kind of just want dogs to stay away from them. But no, those who love dogs, it's just as much a child as your actual child, right? So there you go. In the Image Clothing Company dogs, some things to expect. And as far as timeline on when litters start coming, yikes, I don't know. I cannot tell you as of right now. So yeah, I don't know for sure. I will say this though, a little bit of information. Our dogs in our breeding program, we will do 3 litters per mother. You don't want to be just taking a dog and just breeding her and breeding her and breeding her. We want her as the mom to be able to have a full life as well. And it can take a toll on a dog's body to have a litter of puppies, just like human being women, right? It's a lot on the body. The body has to change to accommodate those dogs, to be able to nourish those dogs and grow the dogs in the mom. So 3 litters for the life of one single mother for our dogs, for our standard poodles, okay, for all the litters that will come. So when we do have dogs in our program that we don't personally house, but we will have other people contract wise, right, housing the dogs as we're using them in the program, and then once they're done being bred, that's the context I'm giving right now, 3 litters. And then, right, when it comes to those contracts, and I'll talk more about how that will work as time goes on, but then right at that point, the dog's fully the person's, who was, you know, the guardian home for the dogs in our program. So I think that's a big thing to be clear on. Again, just as of today's date, the 30th of April, 2025, before we ever even have a single litter coming, or before I even have my own personal standard poodle, right, Nita, 3 litters per dog, because there's some breeding programs out there, there's some breeders that don't have like a very well done program, and I'm not talking down, but I will say, as of just some contrast on, we really are trying to do this for the health of the dogs, not just for a business. We're doing it because dogs are family, not just for money, right? We want these dogs to be as healthy as we can, live as long as they're supposed to, is how I'm gonna word it, right? And we're gonna do that by just keeping everything really, really well done, documented, and just setting the dogs up for a good life. Yeah, so, and we'll do that. So thank you. In the Image Clothing Company dogs, huge, huge, huge. Those poodle parades are gonna be fun, because I just picture like this field behind where the camera's at, there's a lot of field back there. And I picture, not necessarily this location, but just something like this, right? An open area, or again, even if we're like on a hike and we've just got like 40 or 100 or how many, you know, poodles and poodle mixes that we come, you know, everyone brings to a poodle parade, and we just hang out, right? We take a few hours in a day or the whole day and just have a good time, you know, bring food, right? It's like a picnic or just to hang out with our dogs. So that hits. It's gonna be so awesome. So yeah, hang out, man. Hang out, stick around, stop back in, whatever, right? As I say, We'll just document things as we do in the Image Clothing Company, all 4 sides. We'll just keep continuing to grow as it does. And yeah, poodle parades. Poodle parades are going to be awesome. I'd say, I don't want to limit people because I said any size of poodle, and yes, but really, right, we have standard poodles here. That's what we breed. So that means the large size. So standard doodles, standard poodles are probably what's going to be the best to bring to poodle parades. But if you do have small dogs, just be aware, right? The size difference. If, you know, the whole thing is the accountability is entirely on the owner of the individual dog that brings their dog to any poodle parade. If any injury happens, if anything happens, whatever, it's entirely on you for voluntarily deciding to come to a poodle parade. You know, we're going to try to do all that we can, right? Bring a leash, bring a collar, like, right. But yeah, the Image Clothing Company has no accountability that has to be taken for you voluntarily bringing one of your dogs to a poodle parade and then potentially anything happens, okay? Even if it's not another dog harming another dog, if we are on like a hike and your dog gets injured or anything, right? It's entirely just a voluntarily, you come if you want, but so just use your best judgment is what I mean, right? And that's a big reason why it's only going to be poodles and poodle mixes at poodle parades under In The Image Clothing Company, okay? Always, that's how it will be. Okay. Yeah. Poodles. All right, dude. So yeah, it's the 30th of April, 2025. My name is Evan Strong. Here's some things to expect on what In The Image Clothing Company dogs will look like. And there you go. So thank you. Check out the other 3 sides of the company if you'd like to. And yeah. It's going to be really, really, really great. Man. Those poodle parades, man. I think that's going to be a really big thing because when we come to those, so, you know, as personal as I make things under In The Image Clothing Company, because I'm just raw and real and authentic, and I just stand here like this and just film a video, right? Having these meetups and for In The Image Clothing Company dogs specifically, having the poodle parades, it's going to give us this really personal way of just being together with each other and seeing what we do, because, you know, I think sometimes we look at things like this on the internet and it's like, yeah, this is awesome, but who is this guy, right? I want it to be personal, but I don't want it to be about me. Do you see what I mean? So come hang out and let's have a good time. Yeah, that just hits me. It convicts me. I mean, that's a good thing. Yeah, we're gonna have poodle parades, and it'll be like I said, in InTheImageClothingCompany.com. We will put out information and locations, how to get there, requirements, the whole disclaimer about any injury to any dog potentially ever at any kind of In The Image Clothing Company meetup, poodle parade, right? It's entirely on you. I just want to make it so easy, right? But also so apparent of what it all is, and there you go, okay? So, yeah. Try to only bring well-behaved dogs, right? I mean, please. You see what I mean? Like, it's gonna be so great, because I think that's also a big thing is, after knowing about In The Image Clothing Company dogs, if you then bring a dog to a poodle parade, that's how you've known about it. I think it's going to be a testament and a testimony to what we do here, because if you're applying what we talk about under our slogan, letting dogs stay natural, then dogs will just naturally be better behaved. Poodles are awesome anyway. They're so smart. But, right, I think it'll be a testament to just what we're doing here by having us all meet up and being like, yeah, you know, we're all learning together under In The Image Clothing Company dogs. And as I say, it's a community, it's a familial place. And so it'll kind of be like a proof in the pudding, fruits of the labor type of thing in itself, right? So Gosh, yeah. Yep. That hits me so hard. That's how it's going to be, okay? So, I love the title too, Poodle Parades. All right. There you go. Okay. Documentation, documentation, documentation. We'll document it all. All right. As we do the like upbringing of the puppies, you know, and introducing them to new sounds and sights and smells, and you know, starting potty training, the things that we will do before the puppies will go to their new homes, we'll document it, right? We'll just list out what we've done, and so you know, and you'll be able to have that documentation, so you have like almost a preschool registration, right, for your dog, to see how it's been brought up from its very early age through its first 8-ish weeks of life. Okay, so thank you. Goodbye.